Hi guys. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing tonight? I feel like I haven't been live in ages, and it has. It's been months. So yeah, life is kind of calmed down, but now we're hitting the holiday rush, so I don't think it's ever gonna calm down. So if you're able to watch tonight, tonight I am hopping on to show you the pumpkin kits that we are offering for the holidays. They're a DIY kit that comes unfinished, and it allows you to finish them yourself. So I'm just making sure that I can see myself, that I'm actually talking to people. Kit yep, there I am. Okay, so these little kits we just posted on the website, and I'm actually going to put a link in the comments for you. They're on the website, and you get 3 pumpkins, and these kits are similar to the bunny kits that we did at Easter. You got the 3 different size bunnies, and they had the shiplap running horizontal, and it was engraved, so it helped you paint them and kind of craft them with that faux shiplap look. Well, these ones are a little bit different. I wanted to offer maybe something a little easier, maybe something that looks just a little more authentic, rustic look. So these are the finished products. I'm going to put these aside and show you what you get first off. So each kit you get 3 pumpkins. You'll get a large that's 14 inches tall, you'll get a medium that's 10 inches tall, and then you will get a small one for 6 inches. So each kit, each pumpkin has a backer piece. So this is the backer piece for it. And then the stem is cut out. So you'll get a piece for the stem that you can paint Mod Podge paper or fabric on, or just leave this way or stain. But it's separate, so it's easier to paint or do whatever you want with it. And then you'll get these slats that then you again paint Mod Podge fabric on, paper, stain, distress, and then once you're done painting each of the pieces, you can glue them on this backer board. And then it also comes with a stand. Where's my stand? So then it comes with this little slotted stand. So once you get it all finished, and we're gonna do one tonight so you can kind of see how this works. They get put in these little stands. It's a nice tight fit, it holds them up, and then when you're done using them for the season, you simply take the stand off and they store flat. So that's huge. So that's what you get with the kit. Each pumpkin has a backer board, you get the slats that go on top, and then the stand. And so this is the large size, so I'll show you a comparison. So here's the large. This is 14 inches tall. The medium is 10 inches tall, but it's about 14 inches wide, so it's a squat, fat guy. And then the small one is 6 inches tall, and it's about 6 inches wide. And so those are the 3 sizes you get. And so what I've done on mine is I've added paper to each of the slats, distressed them with some paint and some gold, and then glued them on there, and then they'll go in the stand and sit. So super cute. So we're gonna do one together tonight. I'm gonna show you the paper method that I used for this. And then later in the week, I'll also go live again and do a distress painting on one or something fun like that to show you another way that you can paint these yourself. Oh, also with the kit, you'll get 3 little tags. So maybe one you hang one leaf, you can use a leaf on another pumpkin, and then this super cute little tag that says pumpkin picking. It's a tongue twister, but that comes with it. You can paint these, stain these, just leave them as is. They're super cute. They're cut from birch plywood, so they have a nice white creamy finish. The wood's more of a creamy color than a brown, so they look really cute. Let's just show you real quick compared to the paper. So this one I didn't finish at all. I just left it the wood, and it looks great with those colors of paper. Okay, so to do this kit using a paper method, I simply just kind of was looking around in my stash of scrapbook paper and grabbed out some favorite colors. So let me get organized here. Don't need that, we don't need that. Okay, so we're gonna start by, if you're gonna use the paper method, you get, for this large one, we have 5 slats. So you're gonna need 5 different pieces of paper. You could do the same, or you could do 2 different types of patterns and then just rotate them. Whatever you like in a pattern, really. So I'm just gonna lay these out how they're supposed to go so I can figure out my paper here real quick. There we go. So I'm gonna point you down so you can see my workspace a little bit better. Okay, I think we can see everything there. So for this one, I'm going to use some teal colors. So I've got this teal strip here. And I picked out this teal and coral polka dot just so that I could tie that coral and that pink in with my other pumpkin and kind of tie those together. So that's going to be a strip. We've got that pretty teal there. Where's my other pieces? There we go. And then I found this. So that will be one. And let's switch that out there. And then I've got a chevron. And then I've got this kind of, it's got some gold and creamy yellows in it that will tie into some of the colors in the pink orangey pumpkin. So I've pre-cut some of my strips already just to help speed things along, but the slats on the inside of the pumpkins are 2.5 inches, so that way you can just cut your paper 2.5 inches and be ready to apply the paper to the slats. On the ends, we will have to do a little bit of trimming, but I'll show you how to do that. So I am just going to quickly take one of my slats and lay it on the edge of this paper here. And I'm just going to take a pencil and we'll just draw a line straight down. Now if you had a paper cutter, you could definitely use a paper cutter and just cut them all at 2.5 inches and you'd be done there. But if not, scissors work. Pencil and scissors. So I've got all my paper ready, and so I just need to decide the placement of my pattern. I think I'm going to put this try and keep my busiest patterns separate, so you kind of want it to have kind of a busy, more of a solid, busy, more solid, busy, and you kind of break up those busy patterns so that your eyes kind of go throughout the whole pumpkin instead of just resting on those busy patterns. Okay, so I think I like this way, and so I'm just gonna stack my slats and kind of get them out of the way, and we'll work on one. Now when we use this method, you can use this Mod Podge, or you could use Elmer's glue, or there's a matte gel medium that you can use as well. And if you're able to join, say hi. Hi, Lori. Who else? I see. Hi, Linda. Hi, Stacy. How are you ladies tonight? But I'm gonna just use this. So we're gonna open this up. Now, if you're using this, don't use a good brush that you have to apply this. Use something that's possibly old and crusty already, because Mod Podge dries super fast, and if you just let it sit even for 5 minutes, your brush will be hardened, and it can't be washed after that point. So don't use any of your good painting brushes if you have them. I'm just using this cheap little foam brush, and I'll throw it away when I'm done. And it's already hardened from when I was using it earlier, but that's okay, because I just need to spread some of this glue. So we want to apply a good layer of glue down on our surface. This method would work for fabric too, which I think would be super pretty, or if you had pretty tissue paper. Tissue paper you would just want to be really careful with, because it, you know, once it hits that Mod Podge, it's gonna, because it's so thin, it might tear easy. But tissue paper would be another way that you could cover these, or what did I say? Tissue paper, napkin, wrapping paper, all sorts of things. So once you get a good layer of glue down, we're just going to line up one of those, that flat side, with the edge of my paper, and I'm going to smooth it out and just kind of rub that in really good. You can use an old gift card or credit card or department store card, and just again smooth it out, get any bubbles that might be in there. And then on the back side, I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. So I'm going to just lay it right on my pumpkin backer piece, because that works as a great cutting board. And I'm just going to run my X-Acto knife along the edge of my slat here. So there is one piece complete. If you didn't have an X-Acto knife, what you could do, instead of gluing it first, lay your piece where you want it on your paper, and then use your scissors to draw a line around the shape. So I've got my shape there, and then we can just scissor cut it out, and that works too. So there is a front and a back to these pieces, so just make sure to lay out your pieces. If you get a kit first, make sure that everything lines up just like a puzzle, and then when you're tracing this, you're going to trace it so you see the white part, lay your paper pattern down, and then the top piece of your slat needs to go down on the back side or on the white side, and then trace it out. That way you don't accidentally get it so it's on the back side and now you're kind of wonky in that shape. So just pay attention to that. So we've got that cut. Now we can go ahead and glue that on. And this sponge is no longer a sponge, it's really hard. But that's okay, it still spreads the glue. These kits would be really fun for kids too. You could let them paint each of the slats a color, and then they could glue it to that backer board, and then maybe after it's all put together, they come back in and add a face. They could paint a face on it, so that could be fun. So I'm just taking this credit card and smoothing it out, and there's our other side there. Okay, so then this one, I might switch around. I have a little sliver I didn't realize out of my paper here, which is causing an issue with my pieces. I didn't realize that. See if I can make it work somewhere on here. Maybe up on the top there. Nope. All right, let me grab another sheet of that real quick. So if you have a stack of scrapbook paper at home, this is a great way to use it too. Let me see if I can find something that will go with this. This whole stack of paper is so pretty. It was really hard to choose. Something teal. It's got to be coming up. Here we go. That might work. There it is, another sheet. Awesome. All right, we're back in business with the colors I liked. Okay, so I am going to cut a 2.5-inch strip of this real quick. So who's got scrapbook paper laying around in storage or somewhere where we had thoughts of scrapbooking in earlier days maybe? I loved scrapbooking, but man, I just didn't have the time for it. I must have not have loved it enough to make the time. Now I just do it digitally. Okay. Goes there, that goes there, okay. So let's put this one on. Has anyone started decorating for fall? I have these 3 pumpkins, I guess. If you consider that, then I have started decorating for fall. The mornings are nice. They're starting to get crispy cool in the mornings again. So just make sure you have enough glue down to really get that paper stuck. Otherwise, it'll want to peel up on you. Okay. So I'm going to lay mine out first, and then I'll cut it with that X-Acto knife. Starting to come together. I have been all about the mixed media lately. We did a mixed media project in the Redbird Retreat membership today. So we worked on some mixed media mountain painting, which was really fun. So if you cut your paper a little bit too wide, I'm going to show you a trick here after I get all of these cut on how you can kind of clean up your edges super fast. So if you cut them a little big, no problem. This one, I do have a little bit of an edge. It was a little bit bigger than 2.5, but that's okay. One more. Okay. Good layer of glue, line it up. Smooth it out. What do you think of those colors? I think it's gonna go great with, let's pull out that pink guy. And I feel like this helps tie in this pink and this orange. It'll be a great set. And then the small one has just neutral colors on it, so it can go with anything. Okay, so once you've got all your paper on, all you need is to clean up your edges is just a piece of some fine grade sandpaper. This is 220, but another great tool that works great, probably better than this, and I don't have any right now, is embroidery boards for your nails. because those have a nice, you know, they're already hard, and so they can kind of get your edges really good. But all you're gonna do to clean up all your edges is just run this, and you kind of want to press down and away from your edge. You don't want to pull up because you run the risk of pulling up your paper from your board. So just from the pattern side, run it down around that edge, and it will clean up any excess there and cut away that, or sand away, I should say. Plus, if you wanted to, you could really get rustic with these and sand even some of that paper away, so it looks like it's, you know, been worn off. You could do that with sandpaper as well. So quickly just clean up these edges. So a nail file is really handy here. I wish I had one, but this works as well. So here I had that area where I had quite a bit of excess there. You can see that little flap. And when I sand down and around, it's creating a crease really in that piece of paper. And eventually, as I do this, it's going to just fall off. It creates a little cut there at that edge. And let's see if I can pick that off. So then I've just got that excess come off. So that Mod Podge, I always say it wrong, dries super fast, so that's another reason to use it, because you can get this project done in no time. Okay, so after that you can simply glue your pieces on and be done with it, but I'm going to show you how I distressed mine. If you look at all the pieces, it's got this really fun wood stained dirty look around all of the edges, and I'm not sure if you can catch it, but I also added some gold just to give it a little bit of shine. It's not a lot to be obnoxious, but it does add some fun shine to that area. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to start by just getting a little bit of some brown paint, so something like a dark brown will work, any dark brown paint. And then I am going to use my brush to add a little bit of water to it. I want to water it down a little bit so it creates more of a wash instead of a solid color. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of water with my brush and mixing that in there. Okay, and I'm going to use just a regular sponge. This came off of a pouncer tool. It had a handle on it to create circles. I'm going to use this to distress my edges. You could also just use like a little pom-pom would work, or even just a hard bristled brush. Like a small chip brush would work. then maybe I might use that too. Okay, so to start with, we just want some watered down brown. And I'll start with the little pouncer here. And I'm just gonna get a little bit, you don't need a lot. And then we're going to, just like with the sandpaper, I'm going to round around the edges there. And just lightly, let's see if I can get my light to cooperate a little bit. So it's not so bright. I'm just gonna scrape along the edges, and it will give you that kind of worn look. And if you get too much, just use the other side. So this side doesn't have any paint, so I'm just gonna kind of rub that in and rub it around. And so you can see how that gives it that old look. And so if this is too dark for you, you could add a little bit of white to this brown paint, or you could just find a lighter brown. Adding more water will also lighten it up. However much of the distressing that you want is completely up to you, and you know how watery your paint is and how dark it is. I like to heavily distress my stuff, so I like the dark look. And so, let's see, there we go. So it kind of looks really messy right now, but as we put this together, it will start to come together and look like distressed palette would, maybe, is kind of what I'm going for here. And then when I'm all done, I'm just gonna lightly go over the whole thing, and it adds just, you can't really see it on the screen, but there's just a little bit of some brown in there, and it just tones down the newness of the paint or the paper. So we'll do that with the other ones. If you have ink pads, if you do any stamping for scrapbooking and you have some brown or even black ink pads laying around, you could use that with a sponge. You just press this into your ink pad, and this gives you that same look. And it's not in with the ink pad, it doesn't deposit quite as much as the paint does, so you get a more subtle look, as opposed to this is very, very dirty looking and rustic looking. So this one, I just kind of want to blend this in right here. So you can see those edges really start to come out with that distressing happening on the edges. Gonna get a little bit more out here. Small drop of paint. Mix in some water with that. If you like a heavy distress, you could always use a brush and paint it on, and then wipe it away really fast. Kind of similar to how you stain something, you could do it that way too. And all the different ways that you do it are going to give you different results on your distressing. that really helped tone that down too. From being too bright, it was a very bright, new looking piece of paper. So that helped tone it down and kind of get it in line with the other patterns. There we go. What do you guys think? Once you get it put together, you can kind of see where you need to just kind of maybe smooth out some of the edges that you did, blend them together, because when they're together like this, then you can create a cohesive, more dirty edge, I guess, where they've been pushed together and dirt has fallen in between, and so now we can kind of do a little more blending. Yeah, it does. It just makes it look like old pieces of wood stacked together. I really love distressing things. I distress a lot of things. Okay, well, while I have the brown in my paint plate here and it's a little bit watered down, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to use that brown and add it as a stain. So you can see how it's not covering it completely. It's not just a brown color. It's going to show that wood grain through. So this is another way you could do all of your pieces. You could create watered down acrylic stain, and you could stain one a teal, and you could stain one a darker teal, and then distress the edges of that. That would be really pretty too. Maybe that's what I have to show you guys next week. That sounds really fun. But so I just used watered down acrylic brown paint and created my own little stain for the stem. Okay, so I'm gonna add, before I glue these down, I am gonna add just a little bit of gold because I did on my other one. And I'm gonna not water it down, but I am gonna just use this, actually I think I'll just use my chip brush here. And I'm gonna try and just gently brush that on. And so I'm gonna use what's considered a dry brush technique. So I dip my brush in the paint and then I offload most of that on another surface. And so if you were to touch this, you're not gonna get very much paint on there because it's pretty much all gone. And then that way I don't deposit a huge amount of gold, but it still gives it a nice shiny finish. And so I'm just gonna gently brush along all of my seams, my edges, right over the brown that I put in there. Like I said, I don't want it to be a solid gold, but I do want it to have a little bit of sheen. Something that you just kind of notice as you're walking by. And I'm going to put some up in the stem a little bit too. Just a little bit of some glittery up there. You could also use glitter paint. That would be really pretty. Just a really subtle glitter in certain spots. So just a very faint amount, and I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see, but try and show you on the one that's dry. And it's really hard to see while it's drying too. It kind of looks not very good when it's wet, but once it dries, it's a very translucent color, so you still see a lot of the color behind, just with a little bit of a shine. You could distress with gray as well. a dark gray and then add some silver to it, and that would be really pretty too. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can hold this up so you can see some of that pretty gold. Let's see here. Let me try and just grab one piece. So you get a little bit, it catches the light ever so slightly. And again, I just put it in the areas where I had distressed. I'll add a little bit more to this top. And you could just go through and kind of empty your brush of any of the leftover paint. It's not going to be a lot. Just kind of blend that in there. Okay? All right, so the next step then after we've got this all painted and distressed is to glue it. And I'm just going to use a super glue. Here is fast drying super glue. You could use an Elmer's glue. You could use a wood glue. Gosh, I would even think that Mod Podge would work as well, because these slats are super light, and so it won't require a lot to hold them in place. So I'm going to start by attaching my stem, and then I'm going to attach the slats right under it, and then work my way out from that. Make sure everything's in line. And then a great tool to help you glue stuff down, weights. And you get a little workout while you're crafting. Don't need a lot of super glue. I typically just put a couple drops on each of the corners and then just make a really thin X through it. Like I said, these pieces are super light, so it doesn't require a lot to hold them in place. And then we'll just switch that weight over there. Another idea I just thought of is to, you could even just space these out and create, maybe paint your backer black and then space these out with maybe like a penny, and then they would look like the, the slatted wood signs that you see. It's another idea you could do. And if you wanted to, you could spray these with a finishing spray, and you could even use this as your finishing and just put this all over the top of it, just to give it a protective coat if you wanted to. So I've got the pumpkin picking on my medium-sized one, and I used the small leaf on the small one. And so for the big one, I'm going to use this leaf, the larger leaf. And how do I want to finish that? Do I want to finish it? Maybe an orange? What do you guys think? Let's see if I can find a good deep orange. It's a little too dark. Maybe that. Let's try that. And I'm going to actually water it down and do the same thing. Kind of just stain it or give it a good wash. So it's not a solid color, just a watered down acrylic. What do you think? I look okay. Oh, and then I got some on my teal, that's okay. Just a little baby wipe, rub that orange right off. Be careful though, you don't want to rub your paper too much if you spill on it. Okay, so everything's dry. I'm going to grab some jute, cut a little bit off. We'll attach that there. I'm going to wrap it a couple times around the top first, around the stem. And I'll string on my leaf. Tie a little bow. And then I'm going to fray my edges to look more like tentacles. And I don't know if I'll keep this bow though, we'll see. Actually, I'm just going to do a knot. Some excess, and then if you fray these and pull apart the jute, it looks like little vines coming off the top. Thanks, Stacy. So there we go. So that is one way you can decorate these pumpkins, is with paper. I might come back on maybe later this week or the beginning of next week and show you another method. Maybe we'll try that staining with some distressing. That might be fun using the acrylics. But let's see them all together. I think this is probably one of my favorite crafts. I kind of say that with all the crafts I do, but so they're not on their stands right now because I want to be able to get them all in the picture. But you have this great set of pumpkins. Let me just move you up a little bit and see if we can get that tall one in there. There we go. So this is another way that you could display them if you didn't want to use the stands. You don't have to. You could drill a hole in the top of the stems and hang them. And then where you see the little slot at the bottom where it's supposed to go into its stand, you could just paint this brown and stain it, and that would be hidden. Or it would be super cute to just stack them and then glue them in place just like this and hang this on your door. What do you think? Right? Would that be cute on a door? Something like that. So a lot of different options that you can use these pumpkins. And like I said, I'll come back on and do another one because, well, I'm a little bit addicted to them. Where do you purchase your paper? Stacy, geez, I've had my scrapbooking paper for so many years. Hobby Lobby is a great place to purchase it. They typically have 50% off. I have so much of it though. If you guys are interested in me putting together maybe some paper packets to go with it, I could definitely have that be an add-on on the kits. If that's something that interests you, comment below and let me know. Right now the kits on our website are just the wood elements, so you get what I showed you at the beginning. But if a paper pack would interest you, I have tons of paper and would love to offload some, honestly. So let me know if that interests you, and I could put that as an add-on to the kit. So, and we could do like a color scheme, like teals and corals or blacks and whites or something. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time with another pumpkin series of some sort. So talk to you guys later. Thanks.